food before 1 is just for fun. Did I put here? Bears. I wrote bears on my paper. Potato. I put bears. Bears, honestly. Can't figure out what bears are. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Sana and I make videos about motherhood. I have 2 little boys. One is 3 and one is 7 months old. So today I thought I would share with you guys a video about baby-led weaning. I'm extra tired today, but I really wanted to get this done. This was the perfect opportunity. Baby is napping and my 3-year-old is out with my husband, so this was the best time to do this. But I'm extra tired, so bear with me if I get a little lost. I'm really excited to share this because it's something that I get asked about a lot and something that I feel like people are really nervous to do, but something that I really enjoyed, and so I'm usually very happy to talk about it. So with my first, I did baby-led weaning. We started him actually at 4 months with just regular foods. He eats independently, and I was very happy with the results. So with my second, I decided to try the same thing, except I waited until he was 6 months. He has a lot of skin problems and eczema and just had a lot going on, and so I decided that the best thing for him was to just wait and give his system a little more time to develop before I started him on solids. You guys, I have my paper. There we go. So I film off my phone, and so I always write notes onto my phone, and then it's time to film the video, and I'm like, okay, let me get my notes out, and I realized that that doesn't work, so then I always write it onto a paper so that I could see what I had. So I'm going to talk about why, what, and how to do baby-led weaning. So why did we do it? The main reason why I wanted to do baby-led weaning is because of the independence. So a lot of things that I read before I had a baby and when I was thinking of how I wanted to parent him and everything, a lot of it has to do around fostering independence. So this is something that I did with sleep and eating and playing, and this was the overall theme of how I wanted to parent him, was to be independent. And obviously he's a baby and he's going to be dependent on me, but it's to foster his ability to make decisions and long term be able to make good decisions, and to just foster that ability of believing in himself and feeling like he can do things himself. And it might sound silly for you as a baby, but I do feel like it's a process, and if you start from when they're really young, then it'll translate into when they're older. I also didn't want him fighting me on eating. I feel like I heard a lot about kids being like, no, I don't want to, and fighting you and not letting you feed them, and just always it being this struggle between parent and child. And I just wanted it to be an easy process and a simple process, and so that's one of the things that led me to baby-led weaning. I also didn't want to be overfeeding my child, so I find sometimes with a spoon, kids you just kind of pour it in there and they don't really realize. And it's the same as an adult. If you eat really fast, then you don't realize that you're full. You always have to sit down with him and be the one who is feeding him every single time. So a lot of times he joins us for our meals instead of me having to feed him separately and then feed myself. So I appreciated that. I felt like we were having dinner as a family and I didn't have to spend all that extra time feeding him. I also liked that they ate what we ate. So I didn't have to cook separate meals. I don't have to make him his separate food, buy him his separate food. I don't have to go buy baby food or purees or anything like that. They eat what you eat and they enjoy it. And so on the other side of that about it was that there's no transition. So it's not like a lot of times when babies are on purees, I heard from some of my friends that their babies have a really tough time going from puree to solid food, and they reject it a lot, or they choke a lot, or they have a lot of issues kind of making that transition between the texture of food. Another thing was that it also helps them get the real taste of things. So when I give him chicken, he knows exactly what chicken tastes like, as opposed to it being a mix of chicken and peas and carrots and all these things. It's also in some ways more economical because you don't have to buy them separate food. You don't have to go and keep stocks of baby food. You don't have to look for things to be on sale. You just make the food as you would normally, and they eat such small portions of it anyways at the beginning that you really don't have to factor in kind of what you're making for them. We gave him. I also want to mention that I always start with veggies before I start fruits because I find it helps the baby learn different tastes. Like at the beginning, they're willing to eat anything because it's food and they're just so excited. So it's good to start them on any veggies that you have that you like to eat and that you eat regularly, because it'll help them get accustomed to it before you give them any fruit, because they will like fruit. It's sweet. And so for the most part, you don't have to get them accustomed to fruit, but you do have to get them accustomed to veggies. It encourages me to eat healthier because I don't want him eating a bunch of random stuff. And so I'm going to make sure that my meals are meals that he can also eat. And so in general, that just means meals that are a bit healthier, have more veggies, have more just simple ingredients, simple fresh things that he can eat. And I definitely didn't follow baby-led weaning super duper strict. I am willing to be a bit lenient on that, especially because as someone of Asian descent, we eat a lot of rice, and it's really hard for a baby to eat rice. And so sometimes we do just give him rice with a spoon. So basically, all that to say, if you're doing it a different way, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you want to do a mix, then I do think that's possible too, although I might get some people saying that it's not, but that's my opinion. So, what is baby-led weaning? You've heard about it and you've seen people say things about it, and you're like, okay, you kind of get the gist of it. It really is probably what you're thinking it is. Your baby food that your baby can pick up and eat by themselves. So you're not putting it into their hand for them. You're laying it out, and they are making the decision and the choice to pick it up and put it in their mouth and eat it. I didn't want dinner time to be a time that my child saw as a time that they would get something else. Like, I wanted them to see dinner time as dinner time. We all sit and we eat together, and there's nothing else around. So we don't do any screens during dinner time. And that includes my husband and I. We don't keep our phones on us. We don't play anything. We don't do any like bribery or coercion to get him to eat. We don't say like, okay, we're gonna put the screen on and we'll feed you, or you eat your food while you watch this thing. It's not part of baby-led weaning, but that is how we decided to do it. I also want to mention that I don't consistently give my baby 3 meals right off the get-go. Like at 6 months, I don't include him on breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because he is breastfed and he gets a bottle. His main nutrition before 1 is supposed to be milk. And so it's okay if you're not giving him. My pediatrician actually recommended that to feed your baby after you give them milk, not before, because then they might eat food and they will fill up their tummy and they won't have enough space for the milk afterwards. Slogan that I hear a lot, and it's food before 1 is just for fun. It's really them learning how to eat so that later on you'll have an easier time with them eating. But in the short term, you won't see them eat a lot of food. Okay. So how do you get started baby-led weaning? So one thing I recommend, especially if you're a first-time mom, or even if you're a second-time mom, whatever it is, if you're looking to start baby-led weaning with your baby and you're not sure where to start, I would definitely start with doing my research. Babies have a very forward gag reflex, and so babies will naturally, and you'll see this when you baby-led wean, is that babies will naturally, when they eat something that's too big, they'll spit it out themselves. So that's the first thing I recommend. The second thing is to learn how to prep the food, because there are wrong ways to prep the food. Like the safety part of this that I also get asked a lot is, how do you make sure your baby doesn't choke? So you need to watch your kid. Baby-led weaning really isn't about giving your baby some food and doing something else. You should not be distracted while your baby is eating. So it's fine to be sitting and eating your own food right beside them, but I wouldn't be cooking or cleaning or doing other things while your baby is eating, especially at the beginning. You need to make sure that you're there to make sure that they don't choke or nothing happens. And speaking of choking, I think one thing that really helps... Baby's awake. No. Okay, I'm going to try to finish this before he gets too fussy. Feeling comfortable with baby-led weaning is learning CPR. There's usually always courses offered. The community, I'm sure, has some sort of thing. If you really can't get access to a class, which I recommend over a video, there's lots of videos on YouTube where you can learn CPR, specifically infant CPR, and how to keep your baby safe in case something happens, which honestly, I think whether you're baby-led weaning or not is a good thing to do. What I want to say is that your baby is going to make a giant mess. I I've never seen anyone baby led wean and their baby magically keeps things clean. We use the IKEA bib, which I'll also link down below, that covers like his whole, like his arms and his body, and I find that works really well because it keeps his clothes clean. I usually don't have to change him right after, but he makes a really big mess. He'll get better, I promise. Like maybe invest in a hand vacuum. And the last thing is just to have fun with it. Your baby eating is a very exciting time. It's something that where they're starting to integrate into your life and starting to be less of a baby and a little more of a toddler, and it's really cute and it's really fun. So just make it something that's fun. Don't make it something that's stressful for you or for the baby, and just have a good time. If you enjoyed today's video, and I hope it was useful for you, more videos like this about motherhood, then please subscribe down below. It would mean so much to me, and I hope I will see you guys around soon. Let me know in the comments if you've ever tried baby-led weaning and what you thought of it and whether you're considering or not. If you have any questions, then please send me a message down below, or you can private message me on my email. And yeah, so take care, have a great day, and bye. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, then please subscribe.